She had a doctor's appointment this morning. She won't be on today. 9:22 crappie barbecue. So far, day started out pretty good. James Dockery, good morning, buddy. How's it going today? Got 10 people on. Everybody give me a shout. Let me know where you're from, what you're up to today. Anything good going on? Oh, ain't no good. What you doing down here this way, Doc? It's gonna be pretty nasty this weekend. I don't think I'm even gonna get the boat out this weekend. I'm pretty sure I'll be melting plastics all weekend. Good morning, Ronnie. Working on the scissor lift. Sounds like a good time this morning. Monosap. What is it? What's that? You gotta have to explain that one to me, Doctor. I don't know what that is. I was in Branson last weekend. It was packed down there too. It was bumper to bumper traffic in Branson this past weekend. I didn't think it would be. It was kind of cold and rainy. I didn't think it was quite ready that season yet, but it sure was last weekend. It's a school program for kids in archery. Oh, that's pretty cool. Hats off to you for doing that stuff, James. Docker, it's got to be a very appreciated thing to be doing. That's no doubt, getting kids in archery. Hats off to you, man. I'm only going to do 4 or 5. Probably live on YouTube this morning. I got like swamped with orders. Yeah, it's got to be one of those things when you volunteer for something like that, you love it. But one good thing to teach a kid is archery. There's something about archery that's just when you're shooting an arrow, that is all you got on your mind at that moment. Shooting that arrow. Archery is one of the first things I learned about stress relief. Just concentrating on that target. It's one way to take your mind off of everything other than fishing. Over the years, I've gotten to where I don't shoot archery anymore at all. I used to be really big into it. I lived in Iowa for 10 years. I was wrapped up in a bow hunting pretty big the whole time I lived up there. It was pretty much an obsession, to tell you the truth. There was something about archery, man, to just take your mind off everything that was going on, just you and the target. pretty close. I'm about 80% of the way set up to start injecting plastics. We've already done some. Once I kind of get that lined out. Good morning, Mark. Once I get it all set up and kind of ironed out a little bit, we'll be doing some of that on YouTube also. It needs to be pushed into more schools. Good morning in Palestine, Texas. Man, I like the way that white and black comes out. That pops. I've tied a bunch of this color like this, and I have yet to ever get a chance to use one. Jeffrey Farrell, good morning. Savannah, Missouri. I've never even heard of Savannah, Missouri. That's a new one on me. Not sure where that's at. I don't know if I can get a YouTube, like, I don't know if I can get it set up good enough to inject the plastics or not. I don't know, you know, get real close-up views and stuff like that. Just north of St. Joe. See, I've never been too much in that part of Missouri. I was either thinking it was probably somewhere in that area or somewhere like north of St. Louis or something. Never heard of it. Man, you need help with that whip finish tool. I got a video on here, a couple videos on here somewhere, I'm pretty sure, about using that whip finish. And I actually got the camera on this side, so you're seeing what I see when I use that whip finish. But don't let that whip finish beat you up, dude. It's just a knot. That's all you're looking for is a knot. If you got to twist it on there by hand and, you know, do a knot that way, do it that way. Don't put a lot of stock into that whip finish tool, but I will promise you this, it's one of those tools that once you get it, you get it. You can do it blindfold. It's actually harder for me to teach somebody how to do it and actually go slow because I've got that motion down so fast with that whip finish tool that it kind of throws me off when I try to slow down and do it. But don't let that whip finish tool beat you up. It's just it's a knot at the end of your jig. That's all it is. And if it's easier to do it by hand, do it by hand. If you're not sure if that knot's going to hold up or not, put a little drop of super glue or Sally Hansen's Hard as Nails right there on the head of that knot, and you shouldn't have nothing to worry about. I know I've got a couple. Somebody just commented on that video a couple days ago, thanking me for putting that up there. It made it a lot easier to do. But yeah, don't let that whip finish tool beat you. It did. I ain't gonna lie, it did me too. I really figured once I figured out that whip finish tool, I'd be able to defuse a nuclear bomb or something like that afterwards. What Doc said right there 5,000 times. It's somewhere, I want to say like midway back through all my videos, probably a year and a half ago, something like that. But I'm pretty sure if you got on my channel and just hit that search and look for whip finish, it's on there. But I don't know, how good it helps from looking at it from this side, but you're just going to take that little hook, catch your thread, start pulling up, put a little tension on it. Right over top that little bend piece and pull it up till you see that little triangle. Once you got that triangle, you got it. And then usually, if I'm doing a UV resin, that's all I do is one knot. But if I'm going to do just the knot or just like a Chanel body, I usually do two. So I'll put it back in there and I'll give it like 5 more wraps. Eric, what kind of UV glue are you using and how are you curing it? If you have done that, you'll be good till the first year without you mess it up. Throw it across the room. Throw it across the room, get up, and repeat. Once you figure out, it's easy. But like I said, all you're looking for is a knot. Just pull that knot out, pop it out, cut your thread off, run it through there, pull a loop in it. Just somehow all you got to do is come up with a knot. And I even use an Illuma UV. And I've got a cure box behind me. There's videos on there too about that cure box. I made my own. Nobody had what I was looking for. I wasn't happy with the stuff that I got off Amazon with the cure lights and all that. So I just put together my own, made my own box for it. Then as I'm tying, that's what I'm doing with them. I'm taking them, hanging them up in that box. When I come home from work tonight, I'll take them all back out of that box, and tomorrow morning I'll start all over again. But that is a Illuma UV. Subscriber on here sends it to me. Absolutely the best UV resin I've ever used, hands down. The more I use it, the more I like it. There's a lot of UV resins on the market you can get, a lot work. I don't think I've ever ran across one that I could say absolutely did not cure. It's usually got more to do with your lights than it does the resin. It's a combination of the lights, the heat from the lights. That's kind of what it's all. There's more than just the light curing it. It's also the heat. And you'll know you got the right UV light. It'll put off. You'll be able to put your hand above it and feel the heat come off of it. That's how you know you got the right one. Or if you accidentally shine it in the corner of your eye, you'll know what I'm talking about. You'll know you got a UV light, not a black light. It's got an intensity to it. Pretty intense. I'm telling Matt. That is the last one of those. I only got 7,593 more to tie to get caught up. Not really, but it feels like it sometimes. Thank you, 922. Kingdom Crappie Lures, what is up? There it is, done. I hate to cut this short, but I kind of got to this morning. Trying to get everything caught back up enough. I'm going to start a GoFundMe to send you WD-40 for the squeak. If it never fails. This one will get quiet, I'll grab another one, it'll squeak. They all do it to me. Yeah, it don't matter where I set the tension at. I think it's got more to do with that little sticker right there on it. I've tried putting the bushings back under, move the bushings, put wax on them. Wax will keep them quiet for a little while. I was sitting there tying that and it started squeaking. I was wondering who was going to give me the first comment on a squeaking bobbin. There was one I had in here I absolutely threw away. No matter what I did to it, I couldn't get it to stop. That was the only thing I did not do was put WD-40 on it. I don't know. And you sit there and do it like, yeah, you can't hear it, so you can't tell exactly where it's coming from. There's no rub mark on it. Trust me, it drives me up the wall sometimes. Hey, no problem. I appreciate it. If nothing else, that's why I turn the radio way up, so drown out the squeaking. If you can't fix it, drown it out with music. Kind of like a ball joint on a Ford. Just turn the radio up, you don't hear it. Folks, I got to get off here. I got to switch colors, get some other stuff changed up, maybe eat lunch, and then maybe try to inject some plastics. That was a whole separate beast all of its own right there when I started injecting yesterday. But but yeah, I got to get off here. I got to get some other stuff going. If you haven't yet, like, share, subscribe. When I get that all up and going, I'm 100% positive I'll be on YouTube doing the plastic. So might take me a little bit longer before I feel like I'm got it good enough to go on YouTube and do something. The absolute strongest thread for tying is 210 denier. That's what I'm using on these. 210 and 140 is what I use the most of. If I'm using tying a jig that's got a Chanel body on it, I'm using 140. If I'm using one that's got the tapered neck and UV resin finish, I'm using 210. And it don't really matter waxed, not waxed. Just seems to me like 210 is all around the best for tying a really strong jig. And once you start going down to like 30 seconds, 64s, then you want to start going backwards from 140. But 140 I can get away with tying just about every jig I do. So that keeps my stock in a halfway good check with thread, 140 or 210. That's all I buy. 210 being my favorite. I can get more jigs out of a spool of 140 than I can out of 210. But 210, you can put a jig head in that vise, and I can bend that hook on that jig with 210. 140, I probably can with 142. I mean, you can crank it down. You can put a lot of tension on it. But I'm going to get off here. I'm going to got some other stuff I got to do. I'll try to be back on. Today's Wednesday, maybe Friday.